and kick it off, Dr. K.
Great. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming. And I want Kevin and I, glad to have you here. This is going to be a very interactive presentation. So put your questions in chat. There are no dumb questions. I'll also share my email later on if you have any questions later on, LinkedIn, all that stuff. So the main thing came about is I teach at a graduate program in cybersecurity. And my graduate students always ask me about professional certificates. And so I kind of compile information. And then Kevin and I work together, and Kevin's been an amazing resource for me. He just inspires me on how he does certification. So between us, we said, hey, what are the stuff we do well? And we put this presentation together. And so today we're going to talk about it and understand, right? All of us are super busy. So I think Kevin and I have a system that 15 minutes a daily works for me. But for Kevin, it's probably more like 1 hour daily. Kevin, what's your number? 1 hour a day? What is the real scoop for you?
I would say it's between 15 minutes and an hour.
Yep.
But as long as it's daily, it works.
Yep. So, your plans to do it in the weekend, believe me, it never works out. So do it 15 minutes every day, and that's what we're going to talk about. So my name is Sudesh Kannan. I'm also called Dr. K. That's the easy name. I got CISSP, CCSK, CIPP US. I'll tell you more about CIPP US. This is the privacy one that lawyers and other privacy professionals take. I got other certifications too, but these are the 3 that I'm really proud of. Kevin, talk to us.
My name is Kevin McCahill. I'm a security engineer at a large insurance firm that is not Geico. I got my CEH most recently, but I also have a GWOP and CompTia Security Plus certifications. I got all 3 in the last about 2.5 years. So that's me.
Excellent. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, so how are we going to structure this? By the way, hey, you want to hit the record button sometime? Let's do that real quick from the top.
Tell me yes, it is already recording. So
it's already recording.
Go.
Good. Yeah. I didn't see the record button on the side. So, okay. So let's talk about, we're going to start with the benefits of professional certification. It's a lot of pain to prepare for these exams. There's a lot of money involved. So make sure that you know the benefits of professional certification and how to align certification goals with career goals. And here's the one that most people don't realize. People come and say, hey, how do I prepare for it? I say, hey, how do you learn best, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about. Most of the information I'm going to tell you is going to be available in public library. And here's the method that this is what Kevin and I think the spice is. How do you get motivated for your exam and stay that way? To me, that's the key thing, right? And the last one is, of course, how to study smarter and not harder, and hands-on fun. We're going to take some actual Security Plus questions. And if you're interested, let me know in the chat. I want to talk about exam day preparation and test anxiety. Everybody has test anxiety. I don't care who says that. And I'm telling you, test anxiety is a good thing. It's a good thing. And I'll tell you the reason for it. I do a lot of neuroscience stuff, so we're going to talk about that. And if there's any topics that we haven't covered, let me know. We'll talk about that. Tony, am I doing good in speed and sound quality and all that good stuff?
Definitely. Quick question. Should we go ahead and launch the poll since we're still at the beginning?
Just hold on. Just hold on to that.
Okay.
But are there any good chat questions or comments?
Not yet. So continue.
Okay, good. Just monitor that. Stop me if there are questions. So here's the thing, right? People ask me, hey, there are 2 groups in cybersecurity, right? One group that looks down at professional certificates, and there's the other group that thinks that's the end, and they sit and accumulate a lot of certificates. And the right answer lies in between. One of the HR recruiters told me, he said, Dr. K, he says, professional certificates are they're not any choice for experience and other things. But when it comes to salary negotiation and pay raises, they make a big difference. So I need to think about that. Second one is it does improve your career opportunities. Unfortunately, you're going to find a lot of times HR recruiters and all that, they look through the resume, if they don't see any certificates, they are not going to choose you over other people, whatever your experience is. It's a portable proof of ability. So any organization you go, it'll do that. And I like it for the way it gives me coverage, right? I worked on different projects across the past 10 years, but there are still areas that I don't know at all. And a certificate like CISSP has helped me do that. It does improve your professional credibility. If you got a CISSP, that's great. There's something called a GSC. That's only what about 250 people across the world have it. It's that narrow. And extending the knowledge and skills. So those are some of the things why we can certify. Kevin, what are some things, why did you go for certificates? What makes you motivated?
So a couple of them, it really helped that my company was willing to pay for it, but I had to choose what to go for. I think just finding things that I was interested in and things that I thought would help me with the next move in my career really motivated me.
And you had fun with CEH, right? Can you tell a little bit about CEH, what you enjoyed about it?
CEH was fun.
CEH is, by the way, Certified Ethical Hacker, for those of you who don't know. It's a very fun. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It was fun because it was going over less technical stuff about hacking, which I deal with more in my everyday job, but more social things with ethical hacking and how to. It was less about things like how to break the box than how to present that to an employer, present that to someone to show that you added value. So it was much more of a kind of business acumen side of hacking, which was really cool.
I hope you realize these questions are not canned. These are spur of the questions for Kevin, and Kevin's doing pretty good thinking on his feet. So let's go. So how to align cert goals with your career goals, right? Where do you want to go next? And this is very, very important. Don't get certs for the sake of getting certs. It's the dumbest thing you can do because this is a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of money. Don't think that, hey, I pay $300, I get this cert. Each year you have to pay fees for it. And if your company doesn't reimburse you, that happens with small companies, it's a lot of money. So where do you go next? My personal thing is I have mentors. I got networks of people. So anytime I'm going for the next exam, I ask my mentors and say, hey, is it relevant to me, right? For example, I was working for CompTia and one of my mentors said, no, Dr. K, you know a lot. You should go for CISSP. And I thought CISSP is going to be very challenging for me, but I'm glad I followed my mentor and I went and got my CISSP. So talk to your mentors. That makes a very big difference. Here's the one that really blew my mind, okay? There's one gentleman by the name Paul Jeremy, and I'm going to put this link in your chat window, but he went and compiled all these certs in IT. And I'm going to take you to the website. So this is the website, and I'm going to copy this in the chat. Let me see if I can copy it in the chat.
Yeah, problems, I could do it.
Yeah, let me see. Send it to all attendees. Yeah, can you imagine this guy? And what he has done is, if you know this gentleman, please send my compliments. I mean, he has sat and compiled everything, right? And if you click on the link, then it'll take you. So it'll take you to GSC. Can you see the GSC overview, Kevin? Give me a quick thumbs. So this is one of the toughest exams, okay? And this is only 250 people do that. And then there's one lady by the name Terry Radichel, and she's written an awesome article about what it involves getting GSC. And I'm going to put that in the chat.
Are you trying to scare everyone away from certification?
No, I'm not. Please don't think about this until you have other certificates. And in fact, the person who goes for a GSC, the minimum you need GIAC certificate is about 2. But most people get 5 or 6 of them before they attempt the exam. But that's the brutal exam, right? But for most of us, right, CompTia Security Plus is a good one to start with. And then depending on which area you are, you can get other ones. I've got my CISSP, and so I'm not going to talk about each one of them, but I wanted to give you a feel of how this thing comes along.
Yeah,
How are we
this
doing
is a
with
great
base?
resource just to look at, what area you want to go in and all the different options for certifications that are there.
Right. So,
Hey, Dr. K, we got one question actually coming in
okay, go
regarding
ahead.
your advice. So for Martin, he's asking, what are the certifications you would recommend for a person mid-career, non-IT, trying to get into some aspect of cybersecurity? Currently have the Network Plus and Security Plus, but no IT experience.
Excellent. My question is, if you're entering it, always start with CompTia Security Plus, and Kevin's going to talk more about it, and then build, depending on that path that we have shown you, the roadmap, go on that. But start with CompTia Security Plus. Kevin, what would you say?
I would use the website that you just showed and really look into what aspect of cybersecurity you want to get into. Because Network Plus and Security Plus are great basics that cover really broad stuff. You might want to get into something that's more focused after that. And if you're looking to do something like pen testing, CEH would be great. But if you're looking for a different aspect of cybersecurity, there's plenty. I mean, you saw the website. There's lots and lots of options available, and I think you just have to pick one.
Yep. No, great. And so that's the key thing, right? So we are here. Let's go here. So now the question is, right? I talked about GSC, right? This is my favorite slide. I spend a lot of time with neuroscience.
You go back to sharing your screen.
Oh, I haven't shared my screen. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So this certification, look at the roadmap, and show this roadmap to your mentors. If you don't have mentors, come to CSNP, and this is the best place to find mentors. Okay, reach out to us by LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to connect you with people who in the field there. So here's the good news, right? I spend a lot of time studying neuroscience. I'm always looking for hacking memory tools, learning tools. Here's the point: the 3 parts of our brain. The first brain is the social brain. This is where we can have tremendous amount of knowledge, right? I can take somebody in this group, I can hypnotize you, I can make you remember a nursery rhyme that you knew in a childhood and you forgot about it, right? Why? Because memory, our human memory is fantastic. It has a lot of information. But that's not good enough because it's a very inefficient way to retrieve it. The fast brain, okay, this is the part of the brain where you practice again and again and again. That's where it makes a difference. And my rule to this is 50% studying, 50% tests. That's the key thing to do. And there are lots of whatever exam you have, maybe except for a handful of exams, most of them have good question banks. So practice them. You will not get the same questions. For example, CISSP, you'll never get the same question that you study for, but it'll prepare you for that. Social brain. Social brain is a very, very important component of it. I don't care if you're an introvert, you will learn best when you practice socially. So I had a couple of friends of mine. We studied CISSP together. We went to boot camp together. All that makes a big difference. Okay. How are we doing on time? Good job, 6:20. Okay. This is my favorite slide, okay? If you need to take time to understand how you study. Okay. Now, many people of mine, I'm a big videotape person. So I will watch videos again and again. For CISP, that's what I did. I did read the official textbook, but I watched a lot of videos. So it's a very good idea to do that. But the other one is people do is they will record in a MP3. So when they're going running, they'll listen to that. My favorite one was I had to remember all the port numbers I had like 20 or 30 port numbers to remember for CISSP. So my wife and I, when we'd go walking, she would have that sheet in her hand and she would ask me those questions. But the sad thing is I didn't get a single question with port numbers in CISSP. So that happens. But I would suggest, do these multiple techniques, use videos, audios, books. And then two things is memory techniques. Learn memorizing techniques, and YouTube has got great ones, and speed reading. There's very good resources in the library, and I'll share that with you. Love your library. Okay, most of us, especially in the Chicago area, there's no excuse. We got some of the best libraries in the country. So YouTube is there. LinkedIn Learning is very good. There are a number of choices and books that are there. I would also invest in books. Talk to somebody who's recently given the exam and say, hey, which book came? And these books are expensive. They're 50 to 60 bucks. Invest in them. So I would always recommend that you do that. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Kevin. Kevin, take over.
So my personal top 5 tips for getting and staying motivated. Number 1 is to decide what test you're going to take and set a date. Sign up, get it on your calendar. I struggled for a long time, just kind of slowly studying and never taking tests. And it really wasn't until for the Security Plus, I just said, okay, I'm taking it in 6 weeks and force myself to study. Number 2 is make learning a habit. And it kind of goes along with, if you set a date, you better make learning a habit, because otherwise you're not going to be ready. And Dr. K insists that 15 minutes a day is all he needs. I would say personally, 15 minutes may be a minimum. But you can't spend, hours and hours every day studying, because you'll just burn out. So I try to set 15 minutes as a minimum, about an hour maximum until it's really crunch time. Number 3 is finding a learning style that really works for you. I like learning by video. I like reading books, but listening to audio really, I think works best for me. I can do a little bit of both, but I know a lot of people who really learn better one way over the other. And if you're not sure which way you are, I think you got to try all 3 and figure it out. Number 4 is taking quizzes about 50% and studying 50%. All these security tests have practice tests that you can look up. There's practice quizzes online that are free for most of these, where they'll have 10 or 20 questions. Just use them, and use them while you're in the middle of studying. Use them frequently, so you're familiar with the style of questions that the test will have, and maybe you'll run into the exact same question, or one that's similar enough that you'll know the answer because you saw it already. And then number 5 is don't overdo it. Especially if you're not studying every day, you have a tendency to then just try to cram. I know for me, I'll always cram in the last week or 2. But the more I can study, day in and day out, the less cramming I have to do, and the more I know when it's time to, sit down and take the test. It's real easy to overdo it, burn out, and then kind of get fried and not want to go ahead with taking the exam at all. And you're much better off studying 15 minutes a day than, trying to learn everything in a few days or a week for an exam.
Yep.
You go to the next slide.
Yeah. Hey, can we quickly stop? I want to do a quick poll because I want to see the study styles of the people. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Hey, so Tony, would you mind sharing
Yes.
the first poll? So we're going to ask you a poll, ask us some questions. And thanks for all the questions. We'll talk about that. So these are the 2 questions, and you can use the scrolling button on the side. And we've cracked some jokes too. So let us know. Go ahead and click it, and I will give you some time. Go ahead. This is our way to make it interactive. Otherwise, it's boring to listen to us, right? Then thanks for your questions coming on the Q&A, and we'll answer these questions. These are great questions. Trevor, I bet that is you. I'm a certification pro. I want to know how smart you guys really are. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for spending your time with us. And feel free, if you think you're a certification pro, put your advice here. Kevin and I are not the guys saying we know it all, right? So go ahead and put that, right? Put that in the attendees. Yep. Yep. So yeah, CH asked a very good question. And by the way, do you want to end almost 59 people? All right. We got 6 more people who are not voted. Let's see. Let's give them just few more seconds. Yeah, some people saying, hey, I'm not going to do any polls. That's okay. Okay, let's go ahead and end the polling. Let's see the results. Oh, got 2 more people. Do it. Let's do it. 2 more people. Okay, let's show the results. Okay, so tell us more about why you're here. I'm new to cybersecurity, good 38%. Okay, my biggest advice to you is start trying to get experience, internship, whatever you do. There's no substitute for experience, so that's good. I'd like to learn more about professional certifications. 50% of you said that. That's good. I know what I want to study. I want study tips, okay? That's what Kevin and I are doing. Hopefully that's helpful for you. 3 of you said I'm a certification pro, just want to see how smart you guys are. And there are some others who said 4%. So yeah, let me know if it's why you're here. Study techniques, videos. 83% of you said videos. That is a reason for that, okay? 80% of our brain is for visualization. 80% of our brain. The visual cortex in the back, that's what does that. And remember, our eyes are in the front. They're not on the side like horses. We were meant to be hunters. So eyesight is a very big factor. Textbook, good job. And there's no substitute for that. Podcast junkies. If you're not a podcast junkie, you should become one. There's some very good cybersecurity stuff there. Group study, more power for you. There's some others, they said about 20% have said others. I'd love to know that. Okay, so that's really good. So I'm going to stop sharing that results, close that. Ready for sharing. Okay, thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. Let me know when you go to the next slide.
Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Can you see the next slide?
Yeah.
Yep.
So study smarter and not harder. It's real easy to just kind of overdo it and study, but you really need to, you're studying in order to pass a test. You're not studying in order to memorize every single thing that you could possibly be quizzed on. So one thing that I learned very late in life, I went through high school, college, a whole lot of work without ever taking notes really on anything. I remember in college having notebooks that I would fill up about 1 page of for an entire class, and then realize that that's all I had in there by the time the final came around. So I'd rip out that page and use it for a class the next semester. And I guess I saved paper, but I could have learned a lot better if I just took notes. I think the act of taking notes definitely helps you keep focused. For me, especially if I'm watching like YouTube or Pluralsight videos, it's very easy for me to just kind of zone out and stop paying attention. If I'm taking notes, I keep focused. I do end up pausing it and then it ends up taking longer, but I think that's fine. And then I find that those notes frequently, if I take good notes, become my best study guide. And it's not just that I wrote down things that are probably going to be the answers, but when I read them again, I remember the video that I watched and took notes to, which was kind of amazed me. I didn't realize that would happen. Using practice exams strategically is a big help for me. I like to take a full practice test a week before the exam if there's one available. Most of these exams you can find a practice test for. You probably have to buy them. I then use the results from the practice test to see what I need to focus on and really spend the last few days focusing on things that I tested poorly on. Test anxiety is definitely real. I mean, even if it's the CEH, I was extremely nervous about, and I passed with a 93%, which is way above average. And I did not feel confident going into that at all. You don't have to be, on the border to really think you're on the border of passing. And my last thing is, when you do a practice test and find that there's things that you're going to find there's certain areas you're struggling with. Maybe the video or book or whatever that you've been using just doesn't cover it well. So find other sources to review those topics, and that can be a big help to get you good enough to pass. You don't have to be an expert in everything to pass the test. I think, Sudesh, did you want to talk about test anxiety now or later?
Yeah, well, let's go ahead. You're doing fine. Let's go with that. I'll definitely talk about exam preparation and test anxiety. And test anxiety is really good for you. The brain is a good thing for your brain. So we'll talk about it. As long as you're not puking your guts out or things like that, it's a good thing. Good. Keep going. Thanks.
You go to the next slide.
Next slide.
Yeah.
Okay, CompTia. Everybody say whoo-hoo. Yep.
So we decided to focus a little bit on the CompTia Security Plus because it's a very, very broad exam to anyone who's trying to get into cybersecurity. It's a great thing to have. It's not extremely difficult, but it's very popular, very well recognized, and it's a great thing to have to get your foot in the door. It validates your baseline skills to perform security functions. It's approved by the Department of Defense.
Yep, that's a big one.
So a whole lot of government people, if you want to work in government, it's a great security cert to get. It's a great starting point. Focuses on skills for cybersecurity jobs, really across the board. It's pretty broad. And I think that's a big plus for it because you can take that Security Plus exam and really go into a lot of different directions just related to IT security.
Excellent. Next slide.
Yep.
Okay.
So when I took this exam, it was on the 501. I think they refresh it every 2 or 3 years. Just make it a little more relevant because stuff in IT changes quickly. They have 5 domains in the 601 exam: attacks, threats, vulnerabilities. That's the fun stuff. Architecture and design, implementation, operations, and incident response. And there's 14% of governance, risk, and compliance, which is the stuff that really, really bores me. But it is important to know, and especially if you want to work in these fields, it's important stuff to know. So it's broad, but it's very helpful to get you in the door. You can go to the next.
Yep. Nope. Did I miss any slide? Nope.
No, I think that's it.
That's it. Okay, great. So let's answer some of the questions. Put them on the Q&A or chat. I'll start answering them one by one. Kevin, you should be also able to see the questions. Are you able to see the Q&A? Click on that.
Yep.
Okay, so let me talk. Leroy asks, what is your take on certs versus continuing education? It's not if or, right? Do what fits with you. Remember, both of these take a lot of money, right? Certs may take you $5,000 to $10,000, depending on whether you're going to do a training camp and all that. I mean, not CompTia Security, but CISSP, the training camp, which I recommend, will cost you $3,000, right? So, and then once you get your cert, you're paying $300, $400 per certificate, right? So think through it and just focus on a handful of certificates. Talk to your mentors. I'm telling you, your mentors are the best people. Continuing education, I got students who have done master's degrees and I tell them do the CISSP. Why? Because they both complement each other. So that's what my take on that would be. Would you agree with me on that, Kevin?
Well, I would lean towards certs personally, but I'm not an adjunct professor. So that's probably why.
So anyway, I'm not trying to sell my university, but I will share that link on the chat. Okay, so that's good. And by the way, we'll figure out a way to give you a PDF of this presentation. I got to figure that out somewhere. So we'll do that. Okay, so that question was answered. I answered that, done. The next one is, what are your thoughts on CHFI, Computer Hacking Forensics Investigator Certification? A free voucher to take the exam, but I keep hearing mixed information about it being not worth the time. I really would prefer a CH because that's a well-known thing. I don't even know who does CHFI, but CEH that Kevin has done is a much better recognized thing. Kevin, can you tell us a little bit about CEH? Have you heard of CHFI? I've not even heard of that.
It sounds familiar, but I mean, I don't know much about it. I would say if you really want to get into like malware forensics and stuff, maybe that is good, but I'm not an expert in that field.
Excellent, excellent. So, hey, and his question, one person's question. Okay, we'll answer the chat questions. Let's get done with this. So Veronica, I hope we answered your question. Let us know. Okay, Frank says, how can I determine how long I need to study for my certification? First exams, weeks or month? Obviously, it depends on how much time you're willing to commit each year. Okay, here's the thumb rule. CISP is typically 120 to 200 hours. Okay, that's the core studying time, including test taking time. And that does not include training camp. Here's the dumb mistake people do about training camps. They go to CISSP training camps without preparing. And then it'll come and bite them because then they realize they don't know anything. So I would recommend for CISP, I studied about 4 months and then I went for the training camp. And then the next week I did the CISP exam. That's what I would recommend if you are self-disciplined and you do that. Kevin, what is your CEH? How many hours did you put for CEH and CompTia?
I'm not sure in hours how long I studied, but it was about it was probably almost 2 months that I studied for it. And it probably could have done less, but yeah, it depends a lot on how much you're willing to spend daily, and what test you're taking. Obviously, CISSP is a lot bigger than something like CEH or Sec Plus.
Good.
Yeah.
Frank, hope that was helpful for you. Susan, are there any specific certifications or training for identity access management? You know, I don't know if there's one specific for certification, but do look at that chart that I put in the chat. That's a good one. Sit down with your mentor. A mentor is a person who's already doing the job that you want 5 years from now. Not 1 year from now.
There's an entire column on that Paul Jeremy chart for IAM. So there's a lot that fit in there.
Okay. I got an anonymous person saying, what are suggested audiobooks for use at Security Plus? This is similar to another question Patrick asked about podcasts. I have Cybersecurity Today. That's a 5-minute cybersecurity thing that I listen to it every day. And that's a great way. But there are lots of good cybersecurity podcasts available. And they are good ways to enhance your knowledge. So that's what my recommendation would be. Cybersecurity Today. It's from Canada. So that was done. Okay, Joseph Lewis says, when it comes to learning, I learn better by doing a task. For example, I'm studying for Linux Plus. Are there many tasks to do for Security Plus that would translate well to the exams? Joseph, that's a very smart thing to do. The other thing I would strongly recommend is do capture the flag. There are lots of capture the flag. My favorite is Pico CTF. picoctf.org. This is Capture the Flag for high school kids. And it's available all the time by Carnegie Mellon University. It's great hands-on experience. And anytime when you do these kind of things, right, that's very good. And Frank put a good question. I love Professor Messer. Do you want to talk something about Professor Messer's? We are not getting paid by Professor Messer to talk about it.
Yeah, I use Professor Messer for Security Plus, not as my primary studying, but after I took a practice exam and I went back to look for things Professor Messer covered that I didn't do well in, and it was good. I would back that up also. He has podcasts. He has a YouTube channel with just chapters and chapters. I know he used to have like study groups. I don't know if those are still around or not though.
Good. Hey, these questions are really great. So keep them coming. Go to the Q&A and start putting them there. And I hope you like the pace we are going. We are not experts, right? We are bringing it like all of us. We just got a bunch of certificates to go, but so for example, right, this is the classic example, right? There's a shortage of skilled software, but you need experience to join the thing. This is where mentors come in, right? Mentors come in, and this is where they'll help you find experience. Reach out to. That's why CSNP is such a wonderful organization, right? Reach out to Tony. Reach out to Sarah, and they will, come and help out. Tony, what's your experience? How did you end up coming to CSNP? Tell us a little bit about you.
That's a great story. I actually had so I work in the marketing space, and I had a friend that I had organized an event for CSNP, and that was kind of how I got introduced to CSNP. So, we were just doing obviously this was before COVID and everything kind of got crazy. It was one of those in-person events. We started talking with each other. He asked me if I had an interest in cybersecurity, which I most definitely do. And he asked if I wanted to get involved volunteer-wise with CSNP. And, I have been with CSNP since 2019. So it's been a great experience. And, I don't have traditional cybersecurity experience. I do not have that degree in cybersecurity, but it's a great way to learn and get mentors in that way. So highly recommend. And we also, I did drop a link earlier to our Slack channel, and that also provides a lot of great resources, as well as our website too. So I mean, when you're involved with it all the time, even from a volunteer perspective, I think it's great. I mean, you'll start picking up on it, just like learning a second language,
Thanks,
Yeah.
Tony. And thanks for helping out today. You came at the last minute and helped us out. Thank you. It's good stuff. You and Sarah have been amazing resources. Hi, AL. AL, can you pass CompTia certs using free resources? Do we have to start with a CompTia cert? Do you have or know how we can earn a CEH cert? Okay. Yes, CompTia certs, most of them can be done with library books and YouTube videos. Can be done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. CEH cert. Talk to us, Kevin. What does it take to do a CEH? Does it help to have GIAC or something like that?
So I went to a training camp, boot camp for CEH, but I don't feel like I needed to. There are definitely a lot of books out there for it. And I definitely think you can pass CEH without going to training specifically for it. That happens to be what I did for it because my company paid for it. So I didn't have to search for free stuff, but I think you get free and relatively cheap stuff for CEH.
Yep. So now it's good. Hey, and then a CISSP, ISC square, that's the standard certificate, okay? If you want to work to a CISSP, my personal prejudice is do the ISC. I know it costs a lot of money, and my suggestion is don't do it until your company is willing to pay for it and you have the experience for it, right? So it's easy to pass that exam, but I would focus on ISC square, because remember, with ISC square, right? And again, I'm not getting any money for telling good things about them. when you're a member, you get access to so many resources. You get network opportunities, you get opportunities to attend conferences and all that stuff. So I would recommend CISSP ISC is the best one. That's to the anonymous attendee who answered that. So I hope I answered that question. Okay, Kevin said he didn't feel confident at all going into CEH. Did he feel confident once he was taking the exam? That's a good question. And that's more about Kevin than CEH exam, but I'll let Kevin answer the question.
I gained my confidence pretty quickly. I finished that exam in about half the time, and I sat there like going over the questions like, is there something I missed here? It seems too easy. Yeah. I gained confidence pretty quickly once I sat down and took it.
Good. Hey, by the way, Trevor Chandler, go ahead and put all panelists. You're giving some great information. Some of you guys are giving some great links. Put them on the chat, and I'll figure out a way to we'll share that chat later on. But some great resources incoming. Trevor, thanks. Let me see. There are a couple of other good resources that are coming there. testout.com is great. And then CH said Daryl Gibson's book and Professor Messer's course are unbeatable combination for Security Plus. So CH, if you can put that in everybody, these are good resources. Okay. My name is Toby. I'm a freshman in, I'm good, doing good. My name is Toby. I'm a freshman in college, and my reason for being here is because my dad wanted me to check out. Wow, you're listening to your dad. Good for you, man. I need sons like that. Okay. Anyways, if my kids are listening, they're good kids. Okay. Anyways, when getting into college, I randomly picked cybersecurity as my major due to my dad's input, which I'm not fond of till this day. For my minor, it's in arts, which is where I'm really passionate about, but had to include cybersecurity because of pay and sustainability in terms of how long I should keep getting paid to live comfortably. Okay, here's the good news, buddy. If you're good about art, focus on art. There's a lot of cybersecurity work that needs people with the right brain. Okay, posters, designing courses, all that stuff. And even in cybersecurity, there's a lot of art. Social engineering, I'll ask you to look at social engineering, right? So don't come to cybersecurity because the pay is good. It's a horrible career if you don't like it, okay? So my suggestion is cybersecurity will take people of any skill, any art, and you can find some way to fit you. So look for that. And art and cybersecurity is a great opportunities. Making posters for cybersecurity, using marketing abilities in cybersecurity. Those are all very good opportunities. Kevin, would you agree with me? What are your comments?
I agree with you. I would also add that a lot of artists are good hackers. Honestly, it takes someone a little out of left field kind of to think about ways to break in to a computer system. And I think a lot of hackers are artists also.
Yep. Patrick says, what cybersecurity podcast do you recommend? My favorite is Cybersecurity Today. Is just a 5-minute one, and that's all I have the time for. And there are a lot of good newsletters that come. I follow IAPP. IAPP is the privacy one, and they have a daily summary they send to me. There are a number of things that a lot of things they're good there. So good podcasts out there. Not all questions. Frank says not all questions are multiple choices. Some of them are practicals or labs. What's the best way to study for these types of exams? My thing is practice exams. Get your practice exams. That's the best way to do them. Even the multiple choice, the labs, for example, in CISP, they'll ask you case studies. CIPP, the privacy exam, they're all a bunch of case studies for me. And fortunately, you practice it, you read the textbook, and then read news articles. So those are the best ways to do. Kevin, any comments from your side? We got 10 more minutes and I'll allow these questions. Keep them coming. We were planning to do a quiz because we thought people are going to be so bored. And so these questions are great. So keep going.
Yeah, so for cybersecurity lab type tests, I mean, CTFs are great. If it's something more like a Red Hat exam or something, just, you know, getting your own lab set up is important for studying. It's the best way to learn. Yeah, just getting in a lab and practicing, you know, doing the actual work, not just answering questions, is important.
Yep. So that's definitely a good thing to say. Okay, I want to share quickly, this is cheap publicity for my school, but some of you are interested in University of Maryland. Can you see the online program here?
Yep.
And again, can you see the university online program? Can you see the website?
Yes.
Okay. So this is University of Maryland. This is the graduate program. The undergraduate program is also pretty good. And if you're thinking about this, I would definitely consider that. I'm just going to put it on the chat. Why am I not getting the chat here? Okay, here we go. All panelists and attendees, I'm going to put that there. So definitely check that out. That's a very good thing. Okay, Frank, we answered that question. AL, what cybersecurity certificate do you recommend for taking for all those who are in healthcare tech field? That's a good question. I do not know the answer to that. Do you know, Kevin, any healthcare tech?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know. If somebody knows that, put it in the chat. I do not know that, AL. I'll find out later on and check that. Okay, Linda Franklin says, do you have to have passed the CCNA to take the CompTia Security Plus? No, CompTia has got several exams and they don't have any requirements. You can do that 90 quests whenever you're willing to pay the money. For how much? $350? How much is it, Kevin?
Oh man, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's I think 350
like
bucks
that.
or something. You can do it without any work experience. CISP is different. CISP needs 5 years of experience, and if you don't have that experience, you're going to do. You have to do. You'll get an associate's degree or something like that. So that's gone. Okay, Kalonji. I hope I could that. How important is programming knowledge and experience? It is important. Believe me, if you have got programming knowledge and full stack experience and you're willing to come to cybersecurity, send me an email. I'll get you a job. Okay. We're always looking for people with cybersecurity. You tell them, hey, I don't have any cybersecurity experience. I've been a full stack developer for 5-10 years. Come to me. I'll get you a job. Promise. So we're always looking at that. Would you agree with me, Kevin, if you have good full stack experience?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Believe me, we need those kind of people.
But you can't, I mean, you can get into cybersecurity without being a good programmer.
That's true too. That's true too. And that's the opposite too. There are lots of things, right? Okay. Okay, next question. Can I use a study book for CompTia 501 to prepare for 601? I would not do that. Just go ahead and go for the study book for 601 because there are some minor changes. Kevin, what would you say to that?
You know what, I would say if you're okay doing podcasts and or videos to supplement, you could probably use the 501 book and supplement with 601 specific videos or podcasts.
Okay, good. Josh Hall asked me, if you're in a boot camp before you get your first cybersecurity job, which cert should you consider? The CompTia Security Plus or any others? If you haven't got your first cybersecurity job, start with CompTia Security Plus. And you do not need a boot camp for CompTia Security. I'm telling you, there are lots of free things. And the Security Plus is $370. And CompTia exams are, each exam is about $120. And CompTia Security Plus is $370. That's what some people are putting there. Just check for that. And VF says that Security Plus discusses a lot of HIPAA. Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. Any questions on that? Josh Hall's thing, Kevin, do you have any comments on that? How are we doing in time? Oh, we got 7 more minutes. We're doing good. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, if you have access to a boot camp, I would say maybe go for something more difficult and more specialized, but yeah, you don't need a boot camp for Security Plus.
Okay. Hey, by the way, it's 5 more minutes and we got 22 more questions. So here's what we'll do at 6 o'clock. If you want to log out, you can log out, but you don't mind staying 5-10 more minutes, Tony, or do you have to get out exactly at 7?
I don't mind staying on.
Okay.
So
We'll stay back a little bit later, but 6 o'clock is the formal thing, and we'll work to answer as many questions. This is great. Don't you think, Kevin? I thought there's going to be a lot of blind silence, right? So good. This is good stuff. Are there any cloud certifications I would suggest? A CCSK is the best one that I would. If you don't have much experience, all they have is 2 books to study and do it, and they give you 2 for $450. They give you 2 attempts. So I would definitely recommend the CCSK. And then CCSP is not CCSP. I don't know what the exact one is. That's done by ISC, and that's a very important one. That's thing. Any comments on that, Kevin? Would you agree with that recommendation?
The recommendation is fine. I'm more familiar with AWS certs, and those are good too. But you might get a job where they're using Azure or some other cloud provider. So,
hey, and Joseph, you're asking about CCSK. Hey, just read the book. I tell you, it's an open book exam, for crying out loud. So, but don't prepare well for it. Prepare well for it. Don't just say, hey, it's an open book. It's going to be searching. And so what I did was I kept the thing open, and I had like 2 or 3. I had 2 screens, and I had search facilities. I practiced a lot, and so definitely they're not easy, but the books, you have to prepare well for them. I put at least 40 hours for that, though they say minimum they need 30 hours. I put 40 hours for that. Okay, that's done. Okay, Anonymous, are there any specific certs for OS intelligence enthusiasts? Also, are there jobs role exclusively for, man, if you're in threat intelligence and open source intelligence, you'll get jobs. Show your experience and show your skills, you'll get jobs. Again, if you have any interest in secure coding and you have application security background, if you have threat intelligence background, or you're a good hacker, talk to me. I'll get you a job. You don't need certs. I'm telling you, you have to prove your worth, but you're going to be, the interview is going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but if you can show yourself.
Dr. K, we're supposed to be encouraging people to get certs. You just said they don't need it.
Seriously, hey, there are some fields they don't care about certs. If you show them the experience, they'll get you. Okay, and Net Plus, Security Plus, Linux Plus, what should I go for next? BF, your answer is, where do you want to go? Look at that chart that we showed. That's very detailed. That's the best.
Yeah, I'd go for something more specialized, and you got to look and see what you want to do.
Okay. Yep. And then the whole bunch of cybersecurity today. Cybersecurity today is a podcast that Dr. K listens regularly. Okay, that's good. Okay, so yeah, that's good. Done. Can you post some? I've done that, Joseph. Pete, what's your opinion on ISACA certs worth it? CRISC? Yes, if you're in the risk business, CRISC is a great one. And these are all, if you are, it depends on where you want to go. If you want to go risk management, great cert to get. Kevin.
Yeah, I don't have any ISACA, but I know a lot of people in management and risk do, and it has a good name. It carries weight.
Yep, doesn't hurt. Any hands-on advice on hands-on certificates? Any Kubernetes? I wish Regis was online. He would answer this question. Any comments on that? Hands-on certifications? Trevor, where's my buddy Trevor? Give us some answers. Any advice on hands-on certifications, like any of the Kubernetes exams? Red Hat, yep. Red Hat for all hands-on certificates. That's what Trevor says. OpenShift, that's great. That's good. So I'm going to copy that. Hey, Trevor, put them in the audience option, man. Maybe you can't put that. Okay, there we go. That's good. So yep, that's a good one. Done. Practice exam for CompTia. Let me see that. There was one. There's some very good CompTia. I would start with, there are a lot of CompTia Security Plus. Would you agree with me on the online free test?
Yeah, I remember just Googling and finding a lot of quizzes for them.
Okay. VF asks a good question. Cyber security pros, the shortage of cybersecurity pros. So here's the catch-22, right? We have a lot of openings in different organizations, but we are terrified of getting the wrong person in the organization. So people are very picky about whom they pick. They rather go without help, because I'm telling you, any organization will tell you horror stories about hiring somebody without experience or without that. So this is where networks make a big difference. I'd rather hire somebody I know through a friend who says this person is competent than just looking at the resume or doing an interview. So whatever you can do, get your hands dirty. And that's what Trevor says, right? Get your hands dirty and you can learn, and you can't learn this stuff without working at it. But Kevin, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much to add to that.
Okay. Any info on help with costs for certification if one can't afford them until they start making money? Okay, this is a very, very good question. I'm telling you, don't work for certs until you get money. CompTia Security Plus is off the table, right? That gets you entry. And if you can't put $350, $370 to that, you shouldn't be in this field, right? But all the other certificates, my suggestion is don't go there until you are earning enough money or your company is going to pay. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Quinn asks, when studying for certification, how important is it to home lab the materials learned? Hey, I got an old laptop that I put into Kali Linux. Just helps me. I'm a hands-on kind of a learner, right? So I enjoyed that. Kevin, what about you? Do you have any of your home labs?
Yeah, for sure. And I use cloud labs and stuff too. I would say it's pretty important. It does depend on what cert you're going for, but for most cybersecurity certs, it really helps to practice.
CH asks, I'm already Security Plus and CISP certificate, but I don't have a computer science, IT, or cybersecurity degree. I'm telling you, don't waste your time until you've got 3 master's degrees, for crying out loud, right? They're non-computer, I take that. And here's the thing, if your organization doesn't promote you because you already have the certs and you probably have the work experience, time to go to another organization. I'm telling you, it's as simple as that. But most organizations don't care if you have a master's degree in computer science. It's don't waste your time on that. Kevin, comments?
I totally agree.
Okay.
If you have CISSP, you're more ready for work than getting another master's degree.
Yeah. Hey, VF, what's the Cisco packet tracer? I don't know what that is. Okay. Okay, Hack the Box. Yep, Hack the Box is a great way to get hands-on experience. I'm going to put that. Hack the Box. Yep. Great resource. There are so many resources. You know what, Tony, we should talk about that. We should do one talk just on all the resources available. That is there. Is that David? David's your guy. He's pretty cool. David.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out David. David's done some virtual lab talk, and it should be available on YouTube for CSNP. Hack the Box is a great one. Good job. I agree with you. Do you think it'd be wise to learn Linux for newbies who are just getting into cybersecurity field? Hey, doesn't hurt. You know, be a learner, be a lifelong learner. I'm learning Java again, for crying out loud, right? So learn, always learn stuff, right? What are you learning right now, Kevin?
I'm learning Go programming language.
Yeah.
I'm not doing too well with it, but
hey,
I'm learning.
Good to learn. Yeah, hey, CH, I don't know which question you answered. You can ask again. We're doing that. Okay, what cert do you recommend for, what CTF do you recommend for CEH certification? That's your question, Kevin.
I mean, kind of any of them. CEH is not a hands-on certification, but any hacking practice will get you, but more familiar with the topics. So I would say Hack the Box is a great one. Sudesh, you mentioned one that was Pico CTF.
But there are a lot of good capture the flag. Just join, and my favorite one of them is Security Innovation. Check them out. Security Innovation. They have a very good capture the flag, and CSNP does that a couple of times. So that's a good one. What CTF? So that we answered that. I recommend Security Plus. Yep, that's for HIPAA. I agree with you. Okay, CompTia Security Plus is a good example. Are there any certification paths you recommend for embedded system or hardware security audits, reverse engineering? Look at the chart that we have put in your chat. I think I should put that in again so that people who missed it. This is the roadmap, folks. Somebody else created it, but allow this map, this roadmap. That's very good. Okay, answer live, done. To get an entry-level cybersecurity job, what are employers seeking for? First cert is CompTia Security Plus. Get that. And then beg, borrow, steal from your colleagues, your friends, networking, join, like Tony said, come to CSNP. Great way to learn people there. I'm currently sourcing and procurement, contract management. Are there roles in cyber for procurement schools? Absolutely. Get your CompTia Security. In fact, one of my HR friends wanted to ask me, hey, he said, can I come into cybersecurity? I said, absolutely. Do your CompTia Security Plus. And I said, there'll be fantastic jobs for you. So any field, right, you do and start working there. Do you recommend a budget for someone that would like to do this on their own? Nah. What do you think, Kevin? It's just the certificate costs are, each year you end up paying $300, $400. So, until you're paid really well, I would not recommend doing a cert for the sake of certificate. Kevin, what's your call on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. It can get pretty expensive pretty quickly.
Get a good paying job and then, make sure your boss pays for it. And if your boss doesn't pay for it, find another company. But most companies will pay for your thing. Can one take the Azure Sec Cert for any entry-level job? I don't know much about that. Kevin, have you heard of the Azure Security Cert?
Yeah, I think it's kind of specialized. So I would recommend for an entry-level job, trying to take something that's broader like Security Plus. But if you really are looking for a job with Azure, yeah, that it would certainly help if if the job is that specific.
Yep. So no, that's good. Done. May I have your contact information? Sure, I can reach out to me. Like you can find me in the directory. Put my name or Kevin's name on LinkedIn. We are in there, no problem. Is there any information that shows which security certifications are in high demand among certs? Okay, that's a good question. I'm going to show that. I'm going to share that link. Tony, are you good? I'm just feeling bad to keep you extra time here.
Nope. Keep chugging along. So
You're
you're
good.
good.
Okay. So this is a good one. And I always tell people certificates alone won't get you jobs, but this is a good source that tells you salary. But remember, your certificate alone won't get you your job. So that's a good one and good for salary negotiation and praise rise. Will the link and resources be compiled and sent out later? That's a good question, Gerald. What do you think? Can you copy all the chat and remove the links, Tony? Would that be too much work for Sarah or you later on?
You want?
We put all the resources in the
Yeah,
index.
yeah, we can collect this and send it out afterwards. And we do typically send out a mass email to all the attendees with the link to the recording, as well as any other resources that were mentioned in this meeting.
Great.
So
Great. Janai asked a very good question. What suggestions would you have for a community college student in the cybersecurity field with no IT experience? It's hard finding internships and apprenticeships. There are lots of internships, believe me. It's a matter of connecting with them. Almost every organization has it. So that's why join CSNP, okay? Tony's not paying me for telling that, but join CSNP and there'll be internships. There'll be internships, apprenticeship. Kevin, would you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
You got a network for it.
Okay. CH, thank you, man. Thank you. This is fun. Kevin, do you practice cybersecurity with AWS? If so, how did you do it without getting into trouble with AWS? No, we don't. We don't hack real systems, buddy. Nobody hacks real systems.
Well, no, people do.
Yeah, but you know,
I'm not going to admit to that though.
Okay, if you haven't completed training or taken the test, is it okay to put educational experience on your resume? That's a good question. I don't know. You know, I don't know what you mean by do the test. CompTia Security can be done, and you have to finish the test to put some kind of. I'm not very clear. Do you understand that question?
So if you're in the middle of training, but you're sending resumes out already,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an HR person, so I'm not sure how to answer that.
Yep. Excellent. Hey, I think we come to the end of the questions. It's 7 level Central Time. And thank you.
I was gonna
go ahead.
Go for it. I was gonna
No.
answer. I do have previous HR and recruiting experience, and I would say, I mean, any bit of information showing that you're competent in that field is incredibly beneficial. I don't think it's going to be the networking experience that Dr. K and Kevin have been emphasizing over and over again, but it's especially important to just list out your experiences there. Definitely build a relationship with a recruiter. So
that's very good. And you know, more than recruiters, right? Build relationship with, you know, when you come to CSNP, right? Help out with CSNP, right? And that's a great way to build relationships. And whatever skills you have, come out and help. And there are a lot of good things. Okay, I think we come to all the questions. Thank you very much. Wow, we had 65 people come today. This is fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. And this is great. Yeah, please give us your feedback when you can. And we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you so much,
Have
everybody.
a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Hey, Trevor, reach out to me. Thank you. Thanks.